Here is and the other points that the Republicans brought up was that ultimately there's no crime because the aid was released and they didn't have to announce that they were going to investigate Biden. But here is Representative Raja Krishnamurti. I'm not sure where he's from, but from Illinois, making the point as to why the funds were ultimately released.
Colleagues also say that the hold on U.S. security assistance was lifted on September 11th without any investigations happening on the part of the Ukrainians, and therefore everything ended up fine in the end. However, Mr. Kent, as you know, the House Intelligence, Foreign Affairs, and Oversight Committees began this current investigation leading to the proceedings today on September 9th. In fact, it was only 2 days after this particular set of committees began their investigations that the Trump administration eventually released the military aid, correct?
That is a timeline, yes.
There you go. The reason why they didn't get a chance to commit the crime was because the investigation started and they realized, like, oh, we got caught. Your Honor, they had the weapons. They were in the car. They were walking towards the bank. They told the teller to hold, this is a stick up, put the money in the bag. But they never made it out of the bank because a whole team of police officers came in. So no crime. Nothing wrong. Nothing to see here. That's the argument that the Republicans made and easily knocked down. The other argument that they were making is that we haven't heard from the whistleblower. Now, this is really problematic because the only other argument they made was, okay, Mr. Kent, Mr. Taylor, what you're telling us is damning, but you don't have any firsthand knowledge that this was coming from the president. You have never met the president. This is all hearsay. And the both of them were like, look, we were called here to tell what we know. And what we know is that there was this other channel. We know that for a fact. We know what this other channel was doing. Do we know if the president told them directly? We don't know. We're only just going by what we've seen. There's two problems with that argument. One is that the reason why you don't have firsthand people there, like Mick Mulvaney, like Rick Perry, like Rudy Giuliani, is because the White House won't let them talk. The reason why you don't have the documents is because the State Department won't release them. So if you're worried about hearsay, then the White House should have and allow testimony from the firsthand players. But if you're also worried about hearsay, why would you care that the whistleblower comes? Because the whistleblower report was all from what they heard from people who are already testifying. So on one hand, hearsay is wrong. On the other hand, we can't go anywhere without the hearsay testimony of the whistleblower. Here's Jim Jordan, the man who covers for sexual predators of student athletes, saying, how come we're not hearing from where this all started? And Peter Welch from Vermont has a good response for him.
We will never get the chance. We will never get the chance to see the whistleblower raise his right hand, swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. We'll never get that chance. More importantly, the American people won't get that chance. This anonymous so-called whistleblower with no firsthand knowledge, who's biased against the president, who worked with Joe Biden, who is the reason we're all sitting here today, will never get a chance to question that individual. Democrats are trying to impeach the president based on all that. 11 and a half months before an election. We'll not get to check out his credibility, his motivations, his bias. I said this last week, but this is a sad day. This is a sad day for this country. You think about what the Democrats have put our nation through for the last 3 years. started July of 2016 when they spied on 2 American citizens associated with the presidential campaign, and all that unfolded with the Mueller investigation after that. And when that didn't work, here we are. Based on this. The American people see through all this. They understand the facts support the president. They understand this process is unfair, and they see through the whole darn sham. With that, I yield back.
Mr. Welch.
Thank you. I say to my colleague, I'd be glad to have the person who started it all come in and testify. President Trump is welcome to take a seat right there.
There you go. But there is a material problem with the argument that you need to hear from the whistleblower, because the whistleblower, all they did was collect testimony or statements, and he became aware of statements that were made by all the people who are coming in and testifying. So
it's just release the memo all over again.
Of course, there has to be something. And this is, again, there are two separate narratives that are at play here. And there's the right-wing Republican narrative, and then there's the other narrative that really is ultimately just going to box in Republican senators running in purple states. Those are the two real operative issues when we talk about this impeachment, at least in terms of like pure politics.